Yes.
About your daughter. I didn't know there was a daughter.
Yeah.
I have a wonderful daughter from an earlier marriage who lives in Aspen, was living in Aspen at the time. She was born and raised there, and she still lives. She has children of her own now who are good friends of Ryder and Burke.
24.
She was 24. And Dad, I'll meet you at the house as soon as you get home. I was about 40 miles away up the valley, and down at the foot of the bed, see, the house was utterly empty, as you would expect. And she made sure that it wasn't completely empty ever again. It's been wonderful for me.
Any other questions?
Your experiences, I can imagine, really helps you with your relationship with those patients.
They do. What she was talking about. I'm a bereavement counselor at the hospital in Aspen, so that's one of my jobs. And luckily it doesn't happen too much. But an example, a girl who I've actually become really close with, just recently when she was full term, and they induced labor. It's her third child, and the baby died in birth, and they still haven't been able to answer the question of why. And so I've spent a lot of time with her. I mean, she needed to also see a counselor, but I just make the initial contact with her and spend time with her. And I also work with cancer patients who are going through treatment. I organize the volunteers, so I don't really counsel them, but I make sure they have all their needs met. But the main thing, I guess, that I feel like I've learned not only through my own grief but with art as well, is just the importance of just being present. It's not even really about what you say, it's just about being there. And so there's many hours where you just hold them. And that's what I've done with this woman and other ones, because I didn't end up doing it with this woman because they had to take her to Denver, but I've had a couple of women where I go through the actual, they know that the baby has passed on. So I go into the birthing room with them, and I am with them when the baby is born, and we do a ceremony, and it's really hard. So it's a really hard thing. But I feel like I guess I feel like I would want somebody to do that for me. So how can I not do that for somebody else? So I went and the hospital asked me if I'd go get trained for it, so I did, and it's really hard. I mean, art can take. I can't do very many. I can't do it very often. If it happened a lot, I don't know if I could do it, because it takes me a good 2 weeks to get over it. But I feel like it puts it all in perspective. It's sort of like, it's an interesting thing living and being married to him, because I've got pictures all around our house of Kathy and Shay and Tanner. We keep not all, I mean, we keep a lot. I'm the one who wants all the pictures now. But we keep a lot of pictures up, and it's a reminder every day of what's really important and what life is really about. That it's sort of like I was saying also, it's the same thing with the other day. I was delivering a meal to a woman. She's 35 years old. She has a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and she's on her 15th round of chemo, and she cannot stop throwing up, and she cannot, and it's like, I'm sitting here worried about what the stock market's doing, you know what I mean? And it's like, I get there and I'm like, what am I worried about? Why should I care what is happening out there today? Because this woman, just wants to see her kids graduate from high school. She just wants to see her kids grow up. And so what am I thinking? So that's one of the reasons why I think I put myself in this, and I have this sort of a reminder every day, is just that it's and that's one reason I guess why we also wrote the book, is because when you look at situations, you really see what's really important in life and where we should be focused in our lives, if we can. Anything else? Yes.
I'm going to go back away.
Great.
Just what you talked about now. I'm impressed you were able to penetrate, both of you, with some joyful freedom. Most of us are afraid of those boundaries. And even I'm a professional religion person and I'm in structures, you know. But even that question about Jewish Christian, your testimony is there are no boundaries. Forget about boundaries. And that's something that impresses me and will be what I will primarily take away from this. Now, you found life anew by flowing through boundaries that reputedly would not permit that flow. Thank you.
You know, I recently, well, not recently, 3 years ago, I went to go hear. They had the heads of all of the faiths of the world. It was a seminar that was all about world peace, and they had the head of the Jewish faith and the head of the Muslim faith, and they had the head of the Baptist. You know, I don't know what they call the head of that organization, and then they had a woman, Elaine Pagels, who is a theologian as well. They had all these leaders, and it was this most fascinating discussion. But one of the things I took away from that, and I feel like is important for me, was actually the head of the Jewish faith. The rabbi said, he said, "I love my children more than I love your children." He said, "Nobody's going to dispute that or fight that." He said, "Everybody knows that. We're all going to love." But he said, "The problem is when I love my children and only my children." He said, "World peace and love comes from loving our own children maybe a little bit more, but also encompassing and loving other children as well. And that's how we bring it all together." So I've learned a lot from that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank all of you.